Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host Matt Marrero, and sadly Tristan Walter is not here with us at the moment. Basically, let's grab this. So last week, we did our Bardock special, and we also, we mentioned that we were going to send an email to Akira Toriyama or the creators of the DBZ video games, to actually try to get a golden-haired Afro Nappa into our into the next DBZ game, and with that, we started basically a chain of events that we never knew could have existed. So sadly, Tristan went into the future to try and combat these android type creatures that we ended up accidentally creating. It's just some weird stuff. It doesn't matter. We'll probably be back in like 10 minutes. It's cool. So I'll just be doing the podcast for a bit by myself, talking about the history of Trunks, which was a TV special, actually. Most of the things that we've been doing recently have been filmed. But this is actually a TV special in Japan. I know that technically all of the Dragon Ball Z movies were released, on TV for us, other than a few of the special ones that I believe in Texas and they're limited, got limited releases in other places as well. But here, everything was, TV. But this is an actual TV special. If you don't know, History of Trunks was based off of the manga chapter, because yes, there's a manga. Who knew, right? But there's actually a manga chapter based on this. I don't believe that there was an actual manga chapter based on Bardock, just little flashes and hints here and there of his existence. But this is actually a full-on chapter that they added to kind of just, in my opinion, to make Trunks look really cool. I'm sure if my co-host was here, but he'll be here soon, I'm sure, he would agree that this was just a really cool special. There was a lot of amazing things that that really happened in this. Just to name a few, Trunks becoming the man who he is, or really rather the teenager that we see in Dragon Ball Z. Our first look at Trunks is him destroying Frieza. At least our first look. I don't believe that in America that the movie came out at around the same time the show did. So our first look, was that, right? And then eventually got aired, came out on DVD in the year 2000 for us, right, and VHS in the year 2000. So for me, at least, I remember seeing the show version of Trunks first. This really cool guy with mysterious, with pink hair, strangely, making pink seem cool. Thank you, Japan. With this, with his hair and just destroying Frieza. And then you learn about his past and you just think, wow, I felt as if Japan made me grow a little bit from this. I felt as if, Japan actually made me, sit there and think, damn, maybe my life isn't that hard. As an 8-year-old Hispanic child in Queens, maybe my life isn't as hard as the guy who's basically going through the movie Terminator, or at least the backstory to the movie Terminator. Maybe little John Connor's, life is a bit shittier than mine, is how I feel. And it was just an amazing film. Amazing special rather, and hopefully, damn, it's like that Tristan, man. I'm sitting here just thinking, wow, maybe he'll never come back. Maybe I have to do this entire show by myself. I would feel very sad, but I would understand that Tristan died doing what he loved, killing androids. And what I enjoy the most is that he can't hear any of this at all. He actually, all jokes aside, he is not anywhere, in the area. So what I'm basically trying to tell you all is that he can't hear any of this until after the podcast is over. So I can just trash talk him as much as I want to. Hopefully our listeners by the way, if any of our listeners do want to call in, and just to talk to me or to talk to when Tristan gets back, about this film, anything you really enjoyed, please call in. The number is 718-664-9468. Again, the number is 718-664-9468. And please, if anyone wants to call in, why not, right? But sadly, Tristan, I think he's dead. Personally, the next show we may do is a eulogy. As an honor to Tristan, because I'm pretty sure he's died, and it would be a terrible thing, but I'm fairly certain the androids have currently mangled his body completely beyond repair. It's terrible. Oh, it's terrible. Hopefully it's on YouTube though. That'd be a really cool fight. But no, I'm pretty sure he's dead. Poor guy. Poor guy, But hey, as I said, he died doing what he enjoyed, and that's what matters. But, the history of Trunks, getting back to this, well, I mean, we've never really left talking about androids over and over, but this movie came out in Japan on February 24th, 1993. Now, as we always mention, I find this funny and interesting, only because you look at this and you think, whoa, I was only one. Hey, look, Tristan sadly isn't here to see it, but at least not yet. Well, maybe never. But we actually have a special here that aired, when we were alive. I mean, most of these have, been, I remember the first Dragon Ball film, the Garlic Jr. film, being in 1989. And then, slowly it's gotten closer and closer to us. But for a while, we weren't even born yet when half of these specials and movies came out. And here we are now. The first, we were one. I was one, and I'm pretty sure Tristan was one. And hey, look at that. And as I mentioned earlier, it was released in America in the year 2000. So at that point, he and I were 8 years old. And I mention this only because, just think back to when you were watching this, if you hopefully got to see this when it first came out. I mean, I remember having this on VHS myself, and how amazing was that feeling, right? Because I got the edited version. And still, even thinking back now, they didn't edit a lot out. I mean, I can't even realize what they did edit out because of the sheer, just the tone of this film. You can definitely tell that Akira Toriyama was a fan of Terminator, and was a fan of this, these, and of course time travel as well. I mean, you look at something like Doctor Who, something that I'm a huge fan of, Tristan himself starting to recently get into, and I only bring this up because Doctor Who, of course, the newer series came out in, started in 2005, but Doctor Who itself is actually very old. It started in 1963, I believe, or at the very least, no, I believe it was 1966. Point being is that very old. So many of the people that are working on, these anime, or also some of the tokusatsu as well. Tokusatsu, if you don't know, being, these shows like Super Sentai, which became Power Rangers in America, Kamen Rider, which became Masked Rider or Kamen Rider Dragon Knight in America. We're definitely influenced by things like Doctor Who, and it's just very interesting, I feel, to see it. So, but yeah. So anyway. Oh no, I've gotten a distress call from Tristan. I think he might be dead. Just breaking news. I think Tristan Walter has currently died. I wish him the best fighting androids over in Android Heaven. Tristan himself was an android, yes. He's like Blade in that way. But it's okay. Because we're just going to keep on talking about the history of Trunks. And it's all going to be okay. And if Tristan does appear, then good for him. And if he does, it'll be like one of those anime scenes where I'd be very happy to see him, and I will just, I'll hit him, I'll beat him down with glee, But I'm fairly certain that he's dead. I'm fairly certain that Tristan Walter. If anyone's out there, just please call your local authorities and tell them that Tristan Walter in Selden, Long Island, is currently dead. But it's okay. Like I said, I'll keep on trucking. We can keep on going with this. It's okay. It's okay. So let's start with the beginning of the film, shall we? And, of course, again, if anyone wants to call at all to talk about this film, please, call in. The number is 718-664-9468. Again, the number is 718-664-9468. So, starting from the beginning, shall we? This movie was just very sad. I mean, I mentioned this to you guys before, but I have to say, this movie just... I sat there feeling like Tristan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged a bit, just sitting there thinking, but why? Why did I have to see this? This was just torturous, I feel. I mean, the movie starts off with Goku's death. If that isn't something that crushes a child's soul, I don't know what will, right? Just sitting there and then having to basically experience it through Gohan in a way, because Gohan was sadly late to being there. I mean, I feel as if I couldn't believe it. And I think most of us could, because we heard about it from Trunks. When he appeared to destroy Frieza, we heard, in my future Goku dies, but never did it really hit us as much as just seeing it, head on, and then realizing that he never even got a chance to fight. He never even got a chance to help out the Z Fighters, to help these guys out, and now here we are. I mean, just dead. He's just dead. And I feel as if, not just, again, I was 8, 9 at the time. So it didn't feel like Goku just died. It felt like a piece of me died. It was just, it's a sad thing, really. I mean, hopefully you guys saw it live as well, because in seeing it now, I think, you can understand where it's going, and you can see all the little things here and there. So, you're grown up now. I mean, personally, I'm 21, and I'm sure, people around in my age range also, seeing it think, oh, well, it's okay because, obviously Trunks is going to survive, and we know that Trunks is going to survive, but in no way, I think, does that cheapen his ordeal, because that's what he went through. He went through hell, and it's a crazy thing, to see a child basically go through this and to be around that age yourself, because, yes, that is, as much as we love to watch Dragon Ball Z now and other anime, for certain anime, yes, the, intended age range is a lot younger than we would imagine because, hey, Japan, how's it going? What are you doing? Right? So anyway, jumping back into the film, right, we see Gohan's dad, Goku, die, and we see everyone's reactions. And then, sadly, we just see them list off almost everyone, just getting into fights with these androids and just, dying at their hands. And then we get a flash at Master Roshi's house. And I find this very interesting. And because you look at Master Roshi, normally the man who's telling all these jokes, even in, mostly in filler, they will write him in a way that he's just constantly, kidding around, where you even think, all right, stop it. You're a pervert, but I don't think you're this much of a pervert, all right? And yet he and Poir, Oolong, and, the turtle are now in a submarine, right, under the sea. I didn't mean that to be it'd be a Little Mermaid reference, but under the sea, right? And they're just, trying to live. And at first you think, because you always feel that, they're not the main characters, right? But they're supporting characters at this point in the story. And you always think, oh, well, there's no chance of Master Roshi or any of them dying or getting, severely injured. But, that's what shows you the severity of, these androids, where it's just how, when they're done destroying the people in the cities, they might just be flying over the island and just decide, oh, look, it's a house on an island, let's blow it up. And, if they were in the house at that time, yeah, they would all be dead. And it's a scary thought because you don't really think of course you don't think of the main characters dying, but sadly, because they're supporting characters, you don't really think of them fighting. So, of course, you don't think of them dying in battle or anything like that, but it's upsetting. And then to see that Master Roshi wanted to try and do something, and he really couldn't. It would have been a nice fight. I would have actually enjoyed an alternate reality where Master Roshi destroyed the androids because of something. But obviously, he does not stand a chance. Obviously, there is nothing he can do to fight these things. And I think it just shows you that, wow, Earth's lines of defenses. At one point, maybe. At one point, if the androids were there in, Dragon Ball's time, maybe he could have stood a chance, but not today. And it was upsetting to really hear that, that they really needed him, because it's true. I think it was Poir who said it, we're just a pig, a cat, and a turtle. That was Oolong who said it, which is a pig, a cat, and a turtle. And that's all there was. And there was also some differences in the dubs, by the way. If you look at the Japanese English dubs, obviously this is always the case, but I think for this movie it was a bit too jarring. Even though, of course, I love the English script, I do. The English script is amazing, but and I understand. Don't always compare the English and Japanese script because you might not like what you find. But in this case, I think I really got emotional when Master Roshi in Japanese, instead of saying, oh, well, shucks, I guess I can't do it, in Japanese he actually said, darn, if Goku was still alive. And it really, shows how, if Goku was still alive, there's a good chance that they would have won. But sadly, their main character died, their first line of defense died, and then everyone else just couldn't put up a fight because they sadly had not trained for something like this. They kept on, they kept with their training, I'm sure, but in no way were they really trying to fight something as strong as these androids. And, it's just a very sad thing to actually think about. But yeah, a lot of things in the Funimation dub, if we're going to focus on this a bit, a lot of things I think again, they were fun, right? This dub was fun. I really did enjoy a lot of the lines in it, but I do feel as if it really kind of takes the film into like a different tone, where it gives the androids actually a lot more brother-sister time rather than silence. It gives, some of the scenes a lot more, I'll say, pizzazz. And I will admit, yes, it's fun, but I do enjoy how in the Japanese version they kind of just, let things be quiet at certain points. Let things sit in. I mean, I will admit, yes, in English you do need some overriding narration for certain things here and there. You can't just throw out, certain things. But I do admit, especially when you look at the first, when everyone started dying, right, when it was Piccolo, Tien, Yamcha, Krillin, Vegeta, I do love the Japanese, the way it just felt as if it was just listing them off. Where in America, there was a lot of overlapping narration. Where in Japan, it was just, it felt as if it was just Piccolo, Krillin, Tien, as if it was just to say, really focus on each and every one that is trying to stand a chance, and yet they are falling to the android's feet. And but moving forward, speaking of the English dub, I did enjoy their banter. I'll say that much. Said between 17 and 18, I really did enjoy. They really did feel as if they were, brother and sister, and for all we know, they may have been, or at the very least, they knew each other somehow. Because clearly, I mean, if they really didn't like each other, they would have just killed each other right off the bat. But they feel as if they have some sort of camaraderie. They knew each other before the process, because yes, remember that there was a process involved. They're androids, not completely, just a robot. Because if they were a robot, then be like, oh, you were made completely. No, they have human parts. Cue Android 18 joke. They have human parts. I'm sure Krillin can, agree to that. Human parts exist, so they aren't all robots, which is very interesting. You look at Android 18, they can create life, actually. So I really wish that would have been a very interesting thing, I think, if they actually expanded on their backstory. But sadly, they never did. And you look at this version of history, and you can tell that, they are very sadistic. I mean, of course, yes, the androids in our time, the normal DBZ time, the timeline did kill Dr. Gero. But in this case, they also, I mean, they just completely destroy everyone in their path just for no reason. I mean, yes, the dub did add in certain things about point systems and like that for 17, but still, even putting that aside, taking away that childlike, a sadistic nature about them, still, it is still pretty upsetting to see them basically committing genocide and just going, okay, let's go. Okay, let's go. And yet to still see them have this human side with Android 18 trying to go shopping, and then having 17 blow up the place that she was shopping at, and then to have her get upset as if to say, hey, I made a promise. You're making me look bad. It was funny in a way, but then you want to laugh, and then you realize, you look at the context, you look at what's surrounding them, and you think, oh, not so funny. It really makes you, this movie was, I would say, a dark comedy, at times when it really needed to be. And of course, speaking of, the difference between the Japanese and the English version, I feel as if the music for the movie is amazing for both sections, for both the Japanese and the English. However, I will admit that some of the rap, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of rap music. Tristan is not either. Poor soul. Hopefully he can come back to life via the Dragon Balls or something. We aren't big fans of rap music, right? So some of the rap in this, movie felt, not only was I not a fan of it in general, but it also felt very misplaced. It was placed in spots that it really, in my opinion, should not have been placed. And I don't know. I feel as if you had removed them, you probably could have made a better scene with it. I mean, you look at even something like I hate to jump to GT because we're supposed to not remember that it existed, but when you jump to Piccolo's death in GT, right? You see that he, when he died in Japanese, the music that they played was beautiful. When I saw them via Japanese VCDs, I swear VCDs, it was Japanese English sub. I cried, and I still will. then when you look at the American version with their American music, it was just a simple rock, with like guitar, and it was no words to it, but it was just an instrumental theme. And I really feel as if it kind of took away from the scene. And usually Funimation is good with this. They don't usually take away so much with their music, but sadly sometimes they do, and I think this was one of those cases. But hey, thankfully, if you look at some of the newer releases, because they have re-released pretty much all of these films, some on Blu-ray, most on Blu-ray, also, in their own, either in, dual sets or, 2 movies in one pack or something, they have the English dialogue with the Japanese audio of Japanese music. So if you're ever in the mood to, hear the dub, but also hear the Japanese music, you can do that, which is great, I think. I think it's great that we've, not only are things coming out faster where, yes, we are getting that new Dragon Ball Z movie a year late, but that's actually not so bad in context. And hey, when the DVD comes out, I'm sure you're going to get 3 tracks, just as you've done for everything else, that has been re-released as of late, which is great, by the way. Thumbs up. Thank you, Funimation. And now we move forward. We look at adult Gohan, which is the first time that we would see Gohan as an adult, and I would say the most badass we'd ever see him. Although I do like that even when, in the Buu saga, when he isn't an adult, he's more of a teenager, still, he still has this air of badassness. It's not, he doesn't, and I hate to bring up GT twice in a podcast, he isn't like Trunks in GT, because that was sad. Let's just forget that ever happened, shall we? Just wave it all away, shall we? But again, Gohan, I really, he's making me want to tear up, I think, because when you look at him, you just see the spitting image of Goku. You really do. And then you have Bulma even bring it up, and it's just, what's great is that he made the outfit himself. He didn't take Goku's outfit, he actually made that outfit himself just to honor his father. And it really kind of, I don't know, it sits very well. It hits me, a bit close to home. When you lose people that you love, and then you kind of see something like this, it really kind of hits you close to home. And as a kid, of course, it was sad just because Gohan. But now it just, it really kind of, you feel it. You really do kind of feel it, and it's right in the field. It's right in the field. But, we move forward and we look at the training scene, right? Because, of course, there always has to be a training montage, right? But in this case, it isn't just some, going to be a montage kind of thing. You have actual, dialogue. You have a lot, because they have to kill some time with this, right? And you see Trunks and how strong he is even before Gohan gets the chance to train with him. And I think that's very interesting because it shows Trunks' dedication to this. It shows that, he really wants to do, to destroy the androids. And here we are. And also the fact that they're both kind of like brothers. It was really cute, some of the banter that they had between each other. It was very interesting. I'm a big fan. If Gohan needed a younger brother, I would be okay if it was Trunks, even though he had Goten. But hey, different reality. So, what can you do, right? And again, the theme of this podcast is just sad. Tristan's off in the future, possibly never coming back. I don't think he's ever coming back. We have Chi-Chi and Ox King speaking, and that was just wasn't. I feel like this entire movie is just made for you to cry. I think I was sitting here thinking, when am I watching Rent again? I was one musical number away from just assuming this was Rent. I was just, because you have Chi-Chi and Ox King, and they're talking, and it really makes you feel like it's the end of the world. Where little things here and there, because it's Dragon Ball Z, so you're supposed to think, just like any shonen anime, at the end of the day, the world will be saved, right? At the end, and in theory, it was when Trunks came back, but still, when he was there, young, at the end of the day, you're supposed to think, oh, people will be saved. But this special basically negated all of those feelings, where it made you think, no, you should not be thinking that ever, because this movie, this film will make you feel as if your hopes are just gone, just dead. Your hope is dead. The end of the world is here, and there is nothing that you can do to fix it. And it's just a crazy feeling, to really experience that when you're trying to be entertained, because even in other films, it's just, it's like, oh, but there's hope, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. No light. no hope. It's all gone. Hey, everybody, have a nice day. But seriously, though, we try to get to something that isn't so bad somehow. If you noticed, in the amusement park, this is before Android 17 and 18 were trying to ride on the roller coaster. By the way, after basically blowing up the machine behind them that kind of controls the thing. So, hey, hope they can fly, right? But before they destroy that, you can see this giant balloon. It's a cute little orange. It's a huge orange balloon that looks like it's like the theme park's mascot. That's actually a recoloring of the blue slime monster from Dragon Quest, which is it's just really funny how it's just little things like this. I'm sure Akira Toriyama actually did some work for Dragon Quest. He actually created the character designs, which is now very interesting when you think about it in that perspective. So it's little things here and there, Even in an end-of-the-world scenario, you still have to, promote your other projects and kind of just, have some little things here and there. I'm sure there was a Dr. Slump poster that was being destroyed regularly. But, you have you have Gohan, and he fights the androids. And at first you're thinking, okay, so, while my hopes have been crushed for the rest of this film, what are we going to do for the rest of it? Well, he just loses an arm. I mean, nothing major, nothing brutal. Oh, my God. I mean, I was a kid. I keep on mentioning this only because really sit back and think of us being kids watching this. Were we not hardcore? I feel as if we were very hardcore. I feel as if we could just, after seeing things like this, just ECW was just child's play to us. ECW, by the way, if you aren't aware, is a wrestling promotion. Definitely check them out, their older stuff, which is currently on the WWE Network. And that was my WWE Network plug for the DVD podcast. I don't work for WWE, but maybe I would like to. So, sponsor us, right? Why not, right? We don't badmouth you every episode. Just don't listen to our episodes. So we move on to Gohan, for the first time around, Gohan lost an arm, which, again, was insanity, right? Was just pure craziness, right? So Gohan loses his arm. He does the right thing, which just made me really happy. It kind of felt like a what would Jesus do moment, but it was actually really nice that it was what would Goku do. He gives the sensu bean to Trunks. Thankfully, Gohan gets better. One arm, but gets better, and is able to try to fight again. And I feel really happy because I was happy as that. Tried his hardest to not let Trunks get involved in anything, yet, because he knows that if Trunks dies, I mean, that literally is all hope dying. So he knocks out Trunks, and then he goes to fight the androids. But I don't know if any of you noticed this. I don't even know if my possibly dead co-host Tristan noticed this. But when Gohan was fighting the androids, not only was Gohan holding his own, I would say, but I would argue that he was on the cusp of becoming, a Super Saiyan 2, if not there already. And I say if not there already because there was the lightning going around him, and as it does for many people who are rather at the level of Super Saiyan 2. And while he was missing so he was missing an arm, obviously. And I feel as if that not he was missing any power. So it's not as if his arm would mean that he was less powerful, but what I do believe is that he was unable to fight at a level that he could have. And now again, I'm not saying that he could have possibly beaten both androids, but I will say that when he had them separated, he could actually take them. And I do feel as if he had somehow separated them for a longer period of time, which is why I do think that the androids worked better in pairs and traveled in pairs, because the androids knew if they were separated, there is a chance, and I do feel that there was a chance, where if Gohan had taken out maybe 17 first, where 18, if maybe she was shopping, he could have actually defeated 17, at least at that level, because I do feel, again, maybe it was just the weather kind of playing tricks on us, but it did make it feel as if he could hold his own and possibly win. But again, it was very hard to, because one arm against four, against obviously two people, against two androids that were, ready to just, eliminate him and not even think twice about it. And of course, androids being built, being modified to become the perfect fighters, which is another thing that was, was also against Gohan. And sadly, again, more soul-crushing, Gohan dies, and Trunks has to come in and see this amazing, I feel as if, and I'm sure, Tristan would agree as well, bless your heart, Tristan would, would agree that that was one of the best Super Saiyan scenes ever. That scene, Trunks becoming Super Saiyan was just, of course, we've had many great Super Saiyan scenes. We've had, Goku becoming Super Saiyan. We've also had him. Why are most of these roll on Goku? We've had Goku becoming a Super Saiyan 3. We've also had, I'll bring up Vegeta. Speaking of the Vegeta lineage, I'll bring up Vegeta. Him becoming Super Saiyan was an amazing feat as well. Just many of these, transformations, a lot of cool things about them. But even Gohan becoming Super Saiyan 2, I shouldn't forget about, in the natural timeline against Cell, I shouldn't forget that. But just something about Trunks doing this, with the rain, with the music, regardless of what version, it really, you just kind of feel good about it. It just, and I say good not because you feel happy, no, but it feels something. It makes up, I can't even explain it. That's the thing. The words are lost upon me, and if you disagree, watch this scene. Possibly not out of context. Watch it with the Gohan fight, and then see just how it's just, he's holding Gohan in his arms, and then it happens. This is his trigger. And you wonder, did Gohan know he was going to die? Did Gohan know that he was going to be Trunks' trigger? Or, did he go into this thinking, yep, this is where I'll die? We don't know, because he didn't try to escape from them after fighting them. He just knocked out Trunks, and then he went out to fight, and then he died. So sadly, we'll never know. But that fight, that Super Saiyan transformation scene is one of my favorites, out of the entire series. And then, of course, we jump, a couple of years later where things, one thing I'll say this, and I feel this way about Batman Eternal, if any of you are currently reading that comic book series. I will say this about, this series as well, this special as well, rather. It feels odd that they can still live, after, I guess the androids are taking their sweet, sweet time with destroying the world. It's just strange that, they can still exist in a way where, Bulma hasn't been killed yet, or I know storylines, plots, whatever, but, obviously, these characters are going to be protected, but it's still very strange, I'll say that much, where you just think, oh, if there's actual chaos and anarchy, how long, really 3 years later, they could live till that long, but hey, everything else was soul-crushing. Let's have some sense of happiness, I guess, shall we, even though they're living in hell. Let's try to be happy with the fact that they're still alive and they can one day save the Earth, sort of. But yeah, so Trunks, he comes out, right? So he decides to fight the androids, now a bit older, thinking that he's, tough shit, even though he's clearly not. He goes to fight the androids. He's getting his ass kicked. Even worse thing, see, that's why I feel that Gohan, who had that fighting experience of getting it from fighting the androids over and over, could have possibly destroyed them. Trunks, however, could not, and we saw that fairly easily. We saw that creepy scene where he was in the building trying to escape from the androids, and it was very funny, if only because you noticed that, I don't know if any of you noticed, but definitely go back and see this. There's an animation error, and the animation error is when Trunks he's thrown into the building. He ends up powering down, so he's not Super Saiyan anymore. He's a normal Trunks. So he gets beaten up, obviously, in there. He gets beaten out of it, gets thrown out of it, and now he's currently Super Saiyan again. And for some of you thinking, well, how could they have done this? What's going on? What probably happened there is they probably did that scene as if it were going to smoothly cut between him getting punched through the building and then being punched out. Sadly, they probably needed, because it's a television thing, they probably needed something to stall, to fill in some time, and they had to probably animate it quick. So quickly they just thought, oh, let's just do this creepy thing, because Japan is really good at creepy things. And because it was very unsettling, the androids basically hunting him down in that building. And I guess maybe one person didn't talk to the other. Remember, this is 1992. in my opinion, it's a lot harder to keep contact via text or via, email the way you could back then, or you could now compared to back then. So there had to be some miscommunication, and we have an error of Trunks not being Super Saiyan inside the building, yet being completely Super Saiyan when he's, outside. But hey, again, it's, timey-wimey, right? Just timey-wimey. Let's just all assume that's what that is. But talking about the scene itself, though, all jokes, not making jokes, that was a really creepy scene. I mean, let's all sit there and realize that was really creepy. I don't know about now, if anyone didn't see it when they were younger, but when I was younger, that was really unsettling. And now I still feel those same vibes, regardless of the version. So I like the Japanese for the fact that they did say less. So it did feel as if he was kind of running for his survival. But what I will say about the English was, the lines that they added in, I will say, did still make you feel, still make you feel unnerved. I'll say that much. So I still, in both versions, I'll still say that, again, creeped out. And I'm sure Tristan would agree with me whenever he gets back from his adventure with destroying. I mean, it's weird. He said he was off destroying androids. I want to talk about Tristan for a bit. He said he was off destroying androids in the future, but something about this, I don't know, something makes me feel as if he's alive. Now, I don't know why I would feel that way, but something about this makes me think that he actually isn't doing that, and he just maybe couldn't make it onto the episode today. But then again, I don't know. Some people call me gullible. I disagree. But then they send me, but you are, and I'll go, you know what? Yeah, I probably am. But still, I usually disagree. I don't know. But something after 38 minutes on this podcast, I'm just starting to feel as if he might have been lying to me. But then again, I'm probably just, going a little crazy here. I don't know why I would even think of something like that, but oh well. But yeah, so sadly we get to the end of the special, which now let's laugh a bit. And I only want to laugh a bit because, they have Trunks saying, hope for the future, go into the, use your time machine. Again, Terminator, right? Go and use your time machine and go into the past on a very hopeful note. Yet, I think by the time you saw it in America, or at least you have, if you're reading the manga or whatever, you realize that he can't change the future. He can't. He can go back and destroy the android, which he did at one point because he got so powerful, which, good shit, good stuff there. Happy you trained in the present day. But in no way could he come back and actually alter the flow of time, which is really a bummer there. I don't know about any of you guys and girls listening, but that was a real bummer for me personally. Just sitting here thinking, so we're not just gonna, okay, oh wait, I couldn't do anything about it, but again, hope. Save this. You didn't save anything, Trunks. I mean, you saved the future's future. You saved, but you did, you dazed the future past this. No, he didn't really. No, not completely. But and nothing happened. So again, I'm happy you tried, Trunks. But in a way, you failed. Again, he still did what he could. So good for him. But in a way, he failed. And I feel really bad saying that because it really kind of, even the hopeful part at the end, it dampens it completely. But hey, have a good day, everyone. I don't mean to. I'm so sorry. I feel as if everyone now is just so sad. Just no, please don't. It's okay. You have something to live for. I mean, Trunks in a way didn't, but you do. We're not at the apocalypse just yet. We're getting there, though. Don't worry, we're getting there. I mean, with the way technology is going, don't you worry. We're going to have our robot apocalypse coming, just in a little bit. But right now, we're good, so don't worry. Feel happy. Next week, we'll be doing Super Android 13. All right, maybe don't feel super happy about that. But hey, it wasn't that bad of a movie, all right? We're going to be doing Super Android 13 movies, the movie. And hopefully Tristan will be alive. If not, maybe he will be reborn as a full-on cyborg. Hey, he can go metal cooler in this. The poor guy. Hopefully he doesn't go metal cooler. If Tristan starts speaking, in if Tristan becomes a Cyberman, just everyone run. All right, if you see Tristan and he's kind of walking, a bit upright and he's really, really shiny, just go. Just run away. It's not him. All right? But next week we'll be doing Super Android 13. And, if you want to like us on Facebook, which you should because we always update you with our different episodes and things like that, definitely like us on Facebook. Our Facebook is Those Guys on the Radio, which is the URL. And if you're searching us, just search up Those Guys. And, each and every week we almost do a show about every day. And we'll either have Tristan and I doing shows on the DBZ movies. We'll either have myself and Satish Ram talking about Monday Night Raw, the wrestling program, as well as on this Sunday, which will be the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which Mr. Ram and I will be doing at the end of the pay-per-view. But again, hey, what time? Check that out on the Facebook page. Also, myself and Anthony St. Andres always do This Week in Comics whenever there are new comics coming out. And, every week we'll talk about something like Batman Eternal or some Spider-Man if it's out that week and different things like that. Also, speaking of Anthony St. Andres, he actually has an Instagram called Geek for Life Blog, the number 4, Geek for Life Blog. And what does he do on there, you might ask? Well, he actually posts his custom figures on there. Yes, custom, where he will actually paint the figures himself, and he would also do something called kit bashing. Kit bashing meaning, let's say you need a gun from a different, figure put onto this other figure. He will do that for you. And now, why does that all sound either cool or not cool? Well, here's the thing, right? It's cool because he'll take, even a Winter Soldier figure, let's say, right? And he can turn that into a Captain America figure for you, just like that, snap of his fingers. With the color, with kit bashing, and with a bunch of other tools at his disposal, he can customize figures for you at, and what price you might ask? Well, PM him on Instagram, Geek, the number 4, Life Blog, Geek for Life Blog. Definitely get in contact with him, and I can assure you, I've seen his work. He's done Optimus. He's done some Winter Soldier stuff. He is very good at what he does. Definitely check him out. And I think, is it you, Tristan?
Matt, is that you?
Tristan, I thought you died. I got confirmation that you died.
Matt, I don't have time to explain, but this is me from the future. We have to stop this broadcast. Oh, crap,
okay.
I'm too late.
Okay. No, it's okay, Tristan. It's okay. Everything's...
Matt,
I'm sorry, everyone.
Oh, God, I'm too late.
No, it's okay. We're gonna have to end this podcast, everybody. But we're so thank you guys for listening to Those Guys. And I'm Matt Marrero, and then you're Tristan.
Ah!
Tristan! Oh my God!